Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back. It's Monday night. It's our free hit special. So much to chat about tonight. My name's Janny. I'm joined by regular co-host Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
I'm better than any Arsenal fans out there, I think, mate. I think,
Oh,
it's funny though because I've had doubts about Arsenal obviously for a while,
yeah.
and then going into this weekend, I was like, no, they absolutely smash West Ham. They will smash them, and it went 2-0. I think I'd predicted 3-1 on ranks, and I was like, this isn't enough. It's going to be 4-5. They're going to absolutely blitz them, and yeah, they obviously didn't. They've let it go. Saka is annoying. He's annoying because he's in
How
my
far was
team.
the pen miss? Because I've seen only on my mobile phone. I saw the replay, and I haven't seen the view from behind the goal. Was it like
Couple of
Salah's, where it was
yards.
like a centimeter, or was it like,
No,
oh, that was pretty
it's
pretty
well
wide? And
wide. It's well
mm,
wide. It's like yard or two wide. Like
oh,
it's a pretty
it's
big
bad.
miss. So now like the next conundrum is like, is he still on pens? Does he take the next one? Or is
Jesus
Jesus this
stacked it
time
as
not going to
well.
give the ball back to him and just put it down on the spot himself? Because Jesus picked the ball up this time. He was holding it. My mate with me was he supports Arsenal. I was like, no. I knew this would happen. Like the only reason I've got Saka is for the pen. He goes, don't worry. He hands it back to him. Don't worry. He definitely will
And
just
then he
hold it
did.
and give it back to him. And he did. And then I was like, will he next time? Will he next
Mm.
time? Because Jesus is, I think, safer bet. Jerry says no. Jesus is gonna take the next one for sure. CH, hands up if you know what Dean's desk looks like. Yeah, back at the old ironing board tonight, CH.
If you follow Dean on Instagram, you know.
Follow me on Instagram. You get pictures of me on an ironing board and my 5-year-old son's new social media career that I'm
I'm
about to
loving
launch.
that. That's good. I'm getting quite a lot of engagement, mate. I think that's a good move.
It was all right, isn't it? Like I've been thinking about ways back into social media, and he loves doing like little videos and stuff. So check out my Instagram, people. Tell me what you think. I also tested the waters on TikTok too. Don't know if I want to be on TikTok with him, but we'll see because I think he might be a bit more vulnerable on there. We'll see. CH, you have the cutest kids ever. Thanks. The other one does actually want to have a go. The 2-year-old. He's 3 in a month. I'll wait till he's 3, I think. I think that 2 is too young to be breaking social media.
Of course, he wants to have a go. They always want what their older sibling has. Like,
Mate, they've both walking around with they've found old iPhones now, like our old ones before these ones. And they're both walking around. They've set up like account, or we've set up accounts. So they was kept taking our phones. So now they just like FaceTime each other on these phones. Like one's in one bedroom, one's in the other bedroom, and then they hang up, and they do it again, and they do it again. It's insane. But yeah, anyway, back to Saka. Steve says Saka pen miss. It could cost me a green arrow. Well, I've got a big red arrow at the moment. I've gone down from 600,000 to 700,000, but I've got Darwin still to play. So I'm hopeful that I might still bounce back. How was
if
your
he
week?
starts, you get points with Darwin, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. This is going to be a high scoring game tonight. And look, the reason we're on early is so you can all watch Monday Night Football in peace. But yeah, I'm really hopeful Darwin gets a start for you, mate. And I'm hoping Salah's quiet because I'm on a red arrow too. Both of us are guilty of not owning Ollie Watkins, and he's in the form of, well, we haven't seen anything like it, like from Ollie Watkins before. I can't think of many runs of even strikers at his sort of mid-level club style going on his runs. I mean, Vardy did on the year they won the Premier League, where it was back-to-back, obviously like players like Haaland and Kane premiums. But when we look at mid-priced assets from mid-table clubs, Watkins is on an unbelievable run at the moment. And it's not just points and goals, it's really good XG numbers too. Like, it's not lucky. He's deserving all these points. And I look at it and go, why do I not own him? But I took a decision a while back to go Havertz, and unfortunately have to live with that. Despite everyone wanting to tell me on social media that it was a bad call. I know it's a bad call. I don't just tell me that. But it is what it is. And we've got other fires to put out, which is why he's still in my team of Watkins. But Watkins will probably be in my free hit. And I'm going to show you a free hit draft later in today's show. We're also going to go through every team that plays in the free hit and suggest names we like. So almost we're creating here a watch list, a player pool for your free hit this week. Because I'm guessing 75% of the chat are on a free hit this week. Maybe it's more 50-50. Let us know. If you're on a free hit this week, give us the word yes. If you're not on a free hit this week, give us a word no. And I know someone's going to say, just do a poll. We don't know how to do a poll yet, so we're still going on yes and no's. And we like seeing all your yeses and no's flash up, so go for it. So far, it's 50-50. Oh no, it's 75. It's way more yeses at the moment. Yeah, it's about 75%.
Yeah, I haven't, obviously. So, but I have got 2 free transfers, and that will complete my 11. So I'll have a full team. So
Oh, good one. You've done very well,
I'm happy
mate.
with that. Yeah, happy with that. So that's good news. Yeah, got to figure out exactly what it's going to be yet, but I can get an 11 out, so that's good enough for me. Yeah, this was a bad game. I saw someone just said they had 73 points or something.
Loads of 70 scores if you have Watkins.
Mm.
I'd be on over 70 if I had Watkins.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah,
18 points. Like,
was it 18 he had?
I think it was 18. No, add 18 onto your score.
Yeah.
And it'll be an impressive week.
Yeah, actually, no. I just ended up with 60. Wouldn't have been that good. It'd have been okay. It'd been better than.
You got
40.
Darwin, mate. Darwin's going to get you 10.
Yeah, true. Yeah. By the time I've got my Darwin points, it'd have been up to 70. Yeah.
Good to see the
Dean
chat.
changed his
Really
opinion on Solanke being a viable FPL option. Look, since I slaughtered Bournemouth on here, I've got nothing but credit for them. This team are made of something that I just did not think they had in them. They've shown everything that teams even Chelsea just haven't had in their locker. They've reacted to big moments. They've proven themselves in big games. They've had their mentality tested in that Tottenham game, ahead, and then Tottenham claw back to 2-2, and you think there's only one team going to win. It's going to be Tottenham, and you can see the fans and even Dan Juma trying to raise everybody's spirits. And then Bournemouth go down the other end and score a really, nicely well taken goal. And I'm manager's going mental. So it looks like Bournemouth, they're actually going to be okay.
They're good now, I reckon. I think they're good. A couple of wins.
Leicester. I mean, are they your most local team, Leicester? Or do you
Mate, Leicester and Forest are my 2 closest, and they're both going down.
Blimey. Yeah, that's not going to be a happy place to be.
My 2 closest, top tier, Peterborough, and who are rubbish, and then I know Northampton, but no, Leicester and Forest, my 2 big football clubs, I think are both going to be in the Championship. I think it's those 2 in Southampton. I look at all the other teams: West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, even Everton. I think they're all okay. Maybe Everton changed that.
Yeah, some loads of new names I'm spotting. I'm not going to pronounce this right. Aine. How do I pronounce that? Aine? I don't know. Sorry, mate. Let us know how you pronounce that. Transferred out Zinchenko for Ake. What a lovely call that is. What a lovely call.
Ake didn't bloody play. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
was just thinking, Zinchenko wasn't play. That's good. No.
Oh, and then they lost a clean sheet anyway. Ake points, you're going to be fine. Eventually, Aine, you will get loads of Ake points.
So who did you have for City? Because you were going in the last show, you were City strong on defense. So when they conceded that late goal, I hadn't looked at your team, and I was
they played Laporte, didn't he? But I think I would be very surprised if Laporte gets more than one more Premier League game between now and the end of the season. But I did have Grealish, got the assist for the pen, and obviously Captain Haaland. And we did say on this stream, you do what you need to do to get Haaland back into your team, because there are a few managers that are hesitating or were hesitating bringing him back. And people didn't like the idea of selling, say, Harry Kane against Bournemouth. It's you can sell Kane against anyone, any team for a good Haaland fixture at the moment. And when we see the free hit draft put together later, Harry Kane's not in my team, and I don't think he'll feature. I mean, he's got Newcastle away. I'm okay without him. I think Spurs are really, really poor at the moment.
Yeah, you might be right. Helen said, hello, both. First time I get to see you live. 69 points all out. Scared of Salah tonight. First of all, hello. Welcome to the live. Great to have new people. That's the one beauty about changing our little time slot, is that we do get a few new people popping up in the comments section. So hello and well done. 69 points. That's totally sound, isn't it, for this week?
Yeah, that's a nice green. Guys, we're going to go heavy on our free hit chat, and great to see about 75% of you are on that free hit. If you're not on the free hit, don't worry too much, because we're still talking about players you might want to be bringing in this week. So it'll still be very relevant to you. But first up, we've got Dean's notebook.
Yeah, nice. So I'm going to look at a couple of situations today. Spurs and Chelsea both want Luis Enrique as manager at the moment. They're both looking into that. It's pretty significant that Tottenham's still showing interest in him here. I know Chelsea have spoken to him and liked what he had to say. I know that I get the feeling that ideally Todd Boehly would still go for Nagelsmann. I personally, I mean, I'm interested to hear your point of view on this, mate, as a Chelsea fan. I think Enrique is absolutely ideal for this job. His experience of dealing with big players, egos, he's got the experience of managing a big club where expectations are high, a bigger club, let's be honest, where expectations are even higher. He's got a bit of class about him. He's got a good personality that I think should impress people, win people over. I think in that Chelsea dressing room, they need somebody they respect, and also somebody perhaps without past attachments. Like, I don't think Lampard's had much of an impact on these players, probably because they all know who he is, and he's really not given them the enthusiastic push that they needed. It would be a fourth manager of the season if this was to happen before the end of the season. Typically, I wouldn't encourage a team to make a decision like that. But if Chelsea don't do it, mate, I do not know where your first win is coming from under Lampard. I really don't. I mean, I've talked before. What have you got? Southampton and Bournemouth, I think you've still got to play. Bournemouth, I was looking at as a very winnable game. Scrap that. You're not going to beat Bournemouth. They've got too much spirit. So it's Southampton, all on Southampton for Chelsea's only win of the season. But just to say, with Chelsea, we've all kind of written them off. We've brought in players at various times in the season. Next year, if Luis Enrique was in charge, then I think we could start to have faith in these players again. Big overhaul coming in the summer. Let's see what happens. Chinatza says Enrique is too set and stubborn in his ways and falls out with players. He's like a Spanish Conte. I'm not sure I believe in that quite.
No one's as bad as Conte.
No, I understand your point. But I don't think he is quite that bad. I think he's also got a bit of life perspective recently, which in terms of a professional sense, probably helps him just be a bit more relaxed and take things a bit easier. Josh says someone like Xabi Alonso would be fun with Spurs with his use of wing backs at Leverkusen. Yeah, he's doing really well for sure. But that's one.
He's never won a Champions League though as a manager. Like Luis Enrique, I think we forget. He won the Champions League with that Barca team he had. Because remember, he was like the Barca B coach, wasn't he? And a lot of them get promoted.
Yeah,
they won everything. And you can say, oh, he had Messi, but there's been a lot of Barcelona teams with Messi that haven't gone on and won the Champions League and haven't always looked good. So this team that he had around 2015 was unbelievable. And I think at Spain early on, he was also sensational. I backed Spain in the World Cup because of the manager, and they were rubbish in the World Cup, sure. Yeah. And Enrique was poor. But the reason I thought Spain were going to win the World Cup was I was like, they got the best manager at the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely that. And I was surprised too. Let's move on to Newcastle. They're linked with so many players at the moment. Obviously, this is going to be dependent on making the top four. They've just taken a bit of a beating at the weekend, which is going to cause some of us to question whether they can make it. Newcastle today, the Telegraph have done a story and they've suggested that they'll make 4 elite signings. I mean, they're talking about James Maddison, Ivan Toney, Declan Rice, but they also talked about both Napoli stars.
Don't. They think Kvaratskhelia is going to go to Newcastle. He can go to any club in world football.
They put him and Osimhen into the article. And I was like, I think you've gone too far.
Have some respect for Serie A, for God's sake.
There is absolutely no chance. Even if Newcastle are abandoning their careful spending, there is not enough money in the world to convince those two to go to Newcastle at the moment. I'm sorry, you are not there. They were linked in total in the article. They were linked to 16 players. I think that's a sign of where we need to be at in the summer to be, dealing with the transfer speculation. What it will be, though, is fun to see who they actually sign, because we'll probably be looking at signing some of their players once we get to the summer and picking our new teams. Lastly, a bit more transfer news. Liverpool linked with Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount in the last week again. Now, honestly, I don't think either of these will end up joining Liverpool. If you that's my opinion on it, and it's sourced from a couple of people that are quite close to both. But there was a funny quote from Robbie Fowler saying that Liverpool should go for Mount, but at 30 million. 30 million?
What world do you live in?
Like, on what planet are you getting Mason Mount for 30 million? Even Conor Gallagher's rated at 50 million. Like, Mount, it doesn't matter if his contract's like expiring reasonably soon or not. Like, he's an England international with 30 odd caps. He's played loads of Champions League games, Champions League finals. He's not a 30 million pound player, no matter how you dress it up. Sorry, Robbie
Yeah.
Fowler. It's
Yeah.
not.
I think he's forgetting the fact he's English as well. Like, there is no England international that goes for that price because
No.
it's the English tax straight
No
away
one in
before you
that
even look
squad.
at how good he is.
Yeah, exactly. Even if Harry Maguire leaves this summer, Harry Maguire's going for 50 million pound. Like,
Yeah.
he's not even going for 30 million.
Yeah, as long as you're not over 30, because English players do not go, or England players do not go for sub 30. Like, they just don't.
No. That's it, mate. That's all I've got for you on that little section. I thought I'd go a little bit different this
I
week,
love
seeing as
that.
we're going heavy on the other stuff.
Some strong rumours in there, mate. And I see in the chat, I think we'll move on from transfer chat, but just to close us out, Joshua says Maddison's going to Spurs. No, like, he's been heavily linked with Spurs, but Newcastle too. And Dean's been talking about Newcastle for some time. So let's stay tuned, because towards the end of the season, or maybe at the end of the season, going into that summer window, we'll very likely have a transfer special with Dean for that. So stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's have a look. We're going to see our teams, how we got on. Then we're going to move to a bit of bonus chat. But then most of the show now is going to be dedicated to free hits. So stay with us, guys. Let's have a look at Pimp My Team. So the free hit draft is coming very soon, but before we show you our free hit draft, let's just have a very quick look how we got on. So Dean, you've already spoken about this, like not the best week so far, but Darwin could change that. And he's the sort of player that can.
Yeah, hopefully. I said on Friday, like, I'm going to bring in Darwin, and because I might need him to save my week, and the hope of having him playing Monday night could get me through after Sunday. And it has, to be honest. Like, the hope of Darwin playing tonight, a player, as I said before, that I've slaughtered quite a bit, but I have a bit more confidence in him now. Yeah, I'm reasonably confident he can score in this game. Gabriel 1 and Saka 0. Like, didn't see that coming at all. I was really hopeful that Arsenal would keep a clean sheet and that Saka obviously would score. So that was disappointing. Look, I'm not the only person that struggled this week. It was a tough week. Probably the worst decision is not to bring in Ollie Watkins when I could have done that for Darwin. That would have been great. But we take these punts, don't we? We take punts.
We do, mate. And look, it was nice to see. Do you remember on Friday's stream, we spoke about Man City defenders, and I said, do not buy Ederson, guys. The reason, and so many of you watching now will be probably thinking maybe Ederson will be your keeper for the run-in. The reason not to buy Ederson is because he's competing with the likes of Raya and Kepa, who can go and concede 2 goals in their games and still get 5 and 6 points. Like, look at these goalkeeper scores. Ederson concedes, hits a 3-pointer at best, probably a 2-pointer. Raya and Kepa get you points even when they concede, guys. So they are still, for me, very good keepers to have in.
Yeah, that surprised me, I have to say, when I saw that Kepa had got 6. I mean, he made a lot of saves in that game, to be fair. He actually kept the score down, didn't he? So
yeah, and I don't think he'll be losing his place anytime soon after that performance.
He was captain.
Was he captain? I didn't even.
He was captain, mate. He had the armband on. Like,
I saw him doing the tactics stuff, which was a bit of a meme. But he was inspired. It was a very good performance.
I'm not sure Kepa would be my captain. There you go. In my opinion.
Maybe that shows the lack of leaders in that Chelsea lineup. Let's move on to my team. It's similar looking to Dean's. It points slightly higher. Still a rubbish week because we didn't have Watkins. Ake is disappointing. I will have Estupinan come in for Ake. Chilwell still with a blank. We both went Raya over Kepa. I don't know how Bruno Fernandes isn't getting points. Like, it's the 3rd match in a row he's been player of the match, like Sky Sports player of the match.
Yeah.
He hit the post, he hit the crossbar. Yeah. It was beautiful seeing him in the number 10 again. A Sabitzer injury in the warm-up meant he played 10. But Bruno points, guys, don't worry about it. They are on the way. And look, 9.3% owned there, like proper differential, Bruno. So we can count ourselves a little bit unlucky, but the points will come. I'm cool with it. Rashford comes out my team, so I'll also have Botman coming in with the 1 mighty point. I actually thought Newcastle defence might do all right against Villa. I thought they had a chance of a clean sheet, but...
Me too.
Rubbish.
Was rubbish. But...
Yeah, we'll see if we want any Newcastle assets in our free hit when we talk about that next. But
yeah,
look, let's move on quickly to our tips and chips, because in there we're going to touch on some bonus points from the guys at the weekend and then go straight on to see that free hit draft. I saw a message in the chat earlier. Who was it who said, make sure you like the stream, everyone? And I commented being like, yeah, do, or I've got to ram it down people's throats. But no one listens. So guys, if you fancy hitting that like button, please do. But more importantly, subscribe to the channel, because we do these streams Mondays and Fridays, but the times are changing. So when you set that little alarm bell, you'll be notified every time. And obviously, look, for everyone watching on catch up, no worries if you can't join us live. The reason we want you live when possible is because we just love the conversation in the chat. Like, we read absolutely every comment. Loads of them make it on screen, just like Jerry's there. And yeah, we just pop them up on screen when we can. We address them when we can. And even if we can't address them, Dean and I are still often replying in the chat anyway. So do keep the chat busy. Solanke, he was good, and Bournemouth are good. And this is what happens. Like, when Bournemouth play good, they've got attacking options. And 3 points from Solanke, great. He got a goal and assist, 2 assists, but he also had key passes and big chances created in there. He's 2.4%, Dean, like 5.5 million forwards and below. There isn't really any that start. This is someone that starts and gets points. And when we look at West Ham, Southampton, Leeds up next, you wouldn't be surprised for those points to keep flowing, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. 3 home games up next too for Solanke, which is obviously significant. They got decent running. They've got Chelsea too, which is obviously easy. It's I really didn't think we'd get to the point where I would regret knocking him and his credentials in FPL, but I kind of do. Yeah,
I think we both did.
I was totally wrong. He's played really well. He's gonna help him stay up. It looks like. Do you think it's still worth jumping on him then?
I don't know. He's an option in the free hit. In the free hit 32 with West Ham at home. Knowing West Ham, I think, are in Europe this week. Is there a European fixture this week? If it is, even more reason to consider him for a free hit. In terms of bringing him in, I don't think I'm going to be wasting. I don't think I'm going to be using many transfers on players from bottom half teams, no matter how good they've been. I think my transfers are going to be focusing on like Liverpool players, United players, City players, because there's so few transfers left now. But it's always possible. I wouldn't say never.
Yeah, fair enough.
So here was our first bonus beast. Let's have a look at our second. I just picked out 2 this week because 2 interesting ones who have to be on our radar for the free hit and potentially beyond. And that's Eze. Like, I think most free hit teams are going to have a Palace midfielder. Elise is an option. Ayew is listed as a midfielder, and Eze. So all 3 of them, very similar price. Last week, it was Elise's turn for 3 assists, and I think he got perhaps a 3 bonus at Ellen Road. Well, this time, Eze got 2 goals, but from an XG of 0.33, like, he's not scoring big chances. He doesn't really get big chances. The way he plays on the field would suggest it's going to be a lot of long-range efforts, set pieces, but he's a super fun watch. And when he does get a goal or an assist, the bonus are there because things like dribble attempts, pass completion, passes, he gets a lot of that because he plays an essential 3. A lot goes through him. So he's rewarded well in the BPS, and he's a really nice option. I still can't split it. I don't know, Dean, if you're going 1 Palace midfielder, Elise for the assist threat, Eze's been flying for goals of late, or equally getting the same minutes as these guys and the same price is Jordan Ayew, who gets way more penalty area touches, for example, so should be more of a goal threat.
Yeah, and Roy Hodgson's talking Jordan Ayew up again this week. After I mentioned it last week, he's continuing to do that. Like, when people are talking about Eze and Elise, he keeps bringing up Jordan Ayew and the fact that he's integral to the way that this is improving. So I would expect some goals from Jordan Ayew. If Hodgson's talking him up in this way, if I had the choice, I'd be. My gut is to go with Eze, to be honest. Like, I think that's the one I would most want. But I think that's just because I find him the most fun. But it's a totally different outlook now on this Crystal Palace team. I mean, when we got the news that Hodgson was coming in, we obviously expect a well-structured, resilient team that don't concede many goals. But I'd kind of forgotten that also within a Hodgson setup, he will have one or two players that are allowed freedom. When he was last at Palace, it was mainly only Zaha, to be honest, that he did that with. But I also think that was probably because he was a little afraid of losing games and losing his job potentially, And in this situation, he hasn't got anything to lose. He had to come in, make sure they stayed in the Premier League. His reputation's not on the line or anything. And so I think Elise and Eze have benefited from that. He wants them to play higher up the pitch. He wants them to play between the lines, drop off, get the ball where they can and do some damage. And they're thriving since he came in. I think he's just created a much better atmosphere around the place. I know that Crystal Palace players were in dismay, to be honest. When Patrick Vieira was at the club, they thought they were going down. I know one of the players literally went to one of the owners and was like, "Look, something's got to be done. Like we're on the floor here." And so that's what brought about the change. Really, it wasn't even Vieira himself, to be honest. It was more the coaches, I'm told, that like worked with him that the players just couldn't get on board with. So this change has really been welcome across the board, and I think that's what's really helped players like Eze shine.
Sweet. Sorry, Matt. I think my internet maybe went for a second then, or yours did, but I just caught the end of that. Yeah, and Eze shining. And look, someone mentioned in the chat, Gianni, have you ever seen Ayew play? Yeah, look, doesn't matter what we think of Ayew. Like, I don't think he's perhaps the best footballer. I don't like. We've seen him play Championship and Premier League, and I've always questioned if is he a more of a Championship player? He's somewhere between the two, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Roy Hodgson rates him, and that's all that matters. Like Roy Hodgson will play Ayew all day, every day, and he'll pick up good positions and he'll look at his header 2 weeks ago, like amazing header, great goal. And I think he's only got 2 goals this season. So yeah, he's not clinical. He's not been the best, but again, he wasn't getting minutes under Vieira. With minutes in a team that's functioning well against Everton, worth considering. I do wonder against Everton, just thinking of matchups, Elise playing on the right could be a win. I bet, and I haven't looked into this yet. I'll tell you on Friday's show. I bet Everton concede a ton of chances down their left. And we've seen against United, they dropped Mikolenko, and I think they played Godfrey left back. That didn't work. I think he was subbed off at half time. They've got a bit of a problem at left back, Everton. So I don't think they trust Mikolenko. And Elise could have loads of fun with whoever plays at left back. So worth monitoring there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Shall we have a look at the teams that are playing in the free hit team? Because we don't need to talk this week. Bonus beast. Lastly, we did have one more. Let's just browse on. Ollie Watkins was amazing. The XG is there. It was 16 points, not 18. Phew. I only missed out on 16 whopping points. And it's usually 10 every bloody week. I haven't worked out how many I've lost from Watkins over Havertz in the last 6-7 game weeks since I made that call, or 5 weeks when I made that call. But I dread to think how good my rank would be with Watkins anyway. Let's move on from Watkins and move on to that watch list, shall we? The player list for those teams on a free hit. This is what you're all here for. Now, look, these aren't the only names on the list we should be considering. So please don't see this and go, oh, I think Odegaard should be in. It's a max of 3 per team that we've gone with here. The 2 teams in green are Arsenal and Liverpool, because I am confident, and I don't like telling any of you guys how to manage and how to pick your teams, but I'm strongly suggesting if you're on a free hit in game week 32, you have triple Arsenal and triple Liverpool. Everyone else is disposable. Do what you want with them. But you have to have 6 of your 11 players, your 11 starters. Over half your starters have to be from these 2 clubs, because they're by far the best 2 teams playing in terms of upside, but also they have incredible fixtures. Like when we look at these fixtures on paper, Arsenal at home, Southampton, we don't even need to justify that. The same with Liverpool and Forest. Like Forest's away form is the worst in the Football League. Well, Liverpool are decent at Anfield too. So let's start with those 2 teams. And look, I'm going to show you a draft in a minute. And it actually doesn't include these 3 Arsenal assets. It includes 2 of the 3 with 1 other. But Dean, if you're on a free hit, are you going with an Arsenal defender who could very easily and should get 6 points? Gabriel, Ben White, Ramsdale, whatever. Or do you go, the ceiling is so high with the attacking players because it could be a 5-6-0. We have to go triple Arsenal attack. Because I'm seeing most drafts with a defender in, but for me, I will only go triple Arsenal attack. I am set on that.
Yeah, I would go with the attack, especially knowing that they've got Man City coming up next. I think like how the knock-on effect of having a defender as opposed to like a Jesus or something who's likely to score as anyone in that game. That's the main change I think most people will be making. Most people got Martinelli and or Saka. Jesus, I think, has been the one that we've all been, having our finger on the button, hovering over it. Do we, don't we? It's been a tough call to make. Southampton at home. It's Friday night, isn't it, as well, this one? I think it's Friday night. So it's a big decision to make if you want to go big in the first game of the weekend, which is actually in the week, because it can wreck your weekend. But it's Southampton and they are poor. They're really poor. I didn't think they would be this poor for this long, but no one and nothing can seem to help them turn the corner. So, yeah, that's the reason. I mean, Shad points out, hasn't Saka been poor for a while now, FPL-wise? He's in my team, so no surprise there. I mean, in all senses, for the last few weeks, Saka hasn't been as, dynamic, I guess, as efficient. But, this isn't a guy that's going to be left out the team. I think, anyone else is rotatable. There was one game he was left out, but he wasn't feeling well. Like, generally, Saka's going to play. And even on the back of that penalty miss, don't think it'll do too much to his confidence. If you think of what the penalty miss for England did at the Euros, like, it wasn't like he hid away. It wasn't like it affected him. If anything, he came back the best we've ever seen. So,
yeah, he'll bounce back from that.
Yeah, I think he will.
Money's not an issue either, so you don't need to worry about Saka's price. Like, with all your free hit drafts, I can always guarantee you're going to have a ton of money left in the bank. So players like Saka, you can forget the fact he's 2 million more than Martinelli. I do wonder if Odegaard becomes part of our thinking, and I've got all three in my draft of the midfielders because I think there's other forwards I want, but Jesus could very easily feature. What about Liverpool, Dean? Because again, the big question with Arsenal is, do you go triple Arsenal attack or not? We've both said yes. Mm-hmm. And guys, let us know your 3 Liverpool assets for this next conversation, because most of the drafts I've seen, in fact, 95% have Trent and Robbo. So they've gone with the fullbacks because they see a clean sheet, and Liverpool of old definitely, Robbo and Trent, like, as FPL managers, we feel a bit of nostalgia there and go, they're these points machines. But this season, Robertson especially has shown very little in terms of like attacking output. Yeah. So do you go Salah with the 2 fullbacks, or do you go Trent, because he's playing more advanced and he's the better of the 2 options at the back, with Salah? But then, based on tonight's performance, we'll know more. But do you sort of complement those 2 guys with a Darwin or a Jota, depending on who plays well tonight? And I think that's the answer.
There's no way I'd pick Trent and Robertson. Like, there's no way I could trust that. I can't believe that many people are thinking that's a good idea. I know Nottingham Forest are poor and they haven't won a game for, it's got to be a couple of months now, but it's that doesn't mean that they're not going to score in this game. Doesn't mean they can't produce the game of their lives here and actually get something from it either. Liverpool generally better at home, yes, but they're still vulnerable. Like, this team is not Liverpool from old, so you can forget what Trent and Robertson used to be like, because they're not that anymore. They would have to have an outstanding night tonight for me to actually consider this. Like, I just don't see why people would see that as a good idea. So I would be looking at more forward-facing players. Salah, if you can afford him, the free hit you can, and Darwin, absolutely.
Let's blitz through some of the other teams then and matchups. Like, I've put avoid Southampton. Fulham play Leeds. Is that a fixture we could target? For me, it's one I'm probably swerving because I've got no idea what way it's going to go. Like, if Leeds won that 2-0, I wouldn't be surprised. But if Fulham won it 2-0, I wouldn't. I find it difficult to identify a team, let alone a target within a team in this game.
Yeah, and look, I didn't have much hope for Fulham at all going into the Everton game. Obviously, I didn't think we'd score, let alone win, and we scored 3 goals and won. Yeah, so that came as a shock to me. We're up now against the Leeds team that desperate for a win, have to win. We haven't really got that much to play for, apart from finishing above Chelsea for might be the first time in our history. I've got no idea, but I can't imagine there's been too many times we've finished above Chelsea. So there is motivation there, but it's not the same as Leeds players literally fighting for their place in the league. And again, just bear in mind, like, I know we shouldn't worry too much about the timing of fixtures, but you've already got the Arsenal-Southampton game on the Friday night, and then Fulham-Leeds is the first game on TV on Saturday, so it's the 12:30. So if you're going to go flying into Arsenal assets and maybe Fulham assets, then like half your team could be dead by 3 o'clock on Saturday, and like I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So just be cautious. I mean, do I fancy Fulham to beat Leeds? If we played like we did against Everton, then yeah, but it's really hard to read. I don't know. I can't even tell exactly what Fulham team will be getting right now. Andreas, yeah, a few people have mentioned him in the chat today. He's a pretty reliable.
It's the
Fulham
penalty appeal
performer.
too without Mitra, I guess.
Pen appeal, yeah. So I think you could probably go there. Kelly Tete, I put down as a bit of a different one. Just if Fulham keep a clean sheet, there's always a chance he weighs in with an assist as well. And Willian actually played quite well against Everton, got an assist. So yeah, he looked back to being a little bit sharper.
And Nuclear Atoms, for example, made a very valid point. There aren't very many good fixtures to target, which is why he's saving the free hit for the doubles. And I genuinely think if you can get to 9-10 good players this week, there's no need to use your free hit. Maybe even 8-9 good players. For teams like mine, I was never going to be able to not use the free hit because I've got like 3 players, 4 players, like even with transfers, and I'm not willing to take hits because the way my squad's set up, I'm so heavily invested. I've got triple City, for example. Obviously, like many, I've got triple Brighton, but I've also got double United and double Chelsea. Most have got fewer from those teams. So absolutely don't need to free hit this week. You could just go a little bit heavy on the hits to bring in Liverpool players and Arsenal players possibly, and then you're covering the main assets anyway. The 2 fixtures to target we've spoke about, the other one's in green, Arsenal and Liverpool. But outside of that, we've said Fulham Leeds is hard to call. Again, Brentford Villa. Do I think I'll have any Brentford assets in my team? No, I've seen a few with Tony. But the way Villa are defending at the moment, there's no way I'd be backing a Brentford attacker, even with Brentford as the home team. Villa's away form's really good. And I do think Villa are a team that will probably have, I think many will have Watkins, probably myself included. Sod's Law, this will be the 1 week he blanks in the last, 8-9 games, the week I actually own him. But I fancy Watkins against his old club, by the way. He used to play for Brentford. But I do think, again, bench options for your 4th or 5th defender, Moreno is a good option. This is the fixture I think people will target. It's Crystal Palace Everton. No one's looking at Everton, but at Selhurst Park against an Everton team that have been poor of late. And actually, unlike Sean Dyche teams, this Everton team concedes a ton of chances. He trialled a 4-4-2 Dyche at the weekend. He wanted to go back to his roots at Burnley and play 4-4-2. It didn't work with this team. And I think it's because he had an injury. I think Idrissa Gueye might have been out. But I think he'll revert back at all costs. But I see Crystal Palace winning this. And I just don't know if it's Eze, Elise. I've put Ward, but also I think Sam Johnson, the goalkeeper, probably will be my goalkeeper going into this. I think they'll get a clean sheet.
Wow. Yeah, maybe. Obviously, we spoke about Ayew too. I mean, he's probably worth considering.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. Like most of us will kind of turn our nose up at of having any Palace players in our actual lineup, especially if you've got a free hit. But if you look at the actual fixtures, you're right. Like there's not much sexy going on this week. And Palace Everton might be as good as it gets.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. I lost you there for a sec.
That's all right, mate.
So, okay, outside of the Palace game, let's move on to Leicester Wolves, because this is another fixture I think we could maybe target. And you might go, target who? Like, Wolves are probably favourites, but I do have a slight feeling Leicester are going to win this one. And I think what we saw late against City was promising in terms of Iheanacho coming off the bench, having a good performance. And I think Iheanacho starts this football match. And a lot of Leicester fans will tell you the same. I spoke to my mate and viewer of this, FPL Rob, who is very confident of an Iheanacho start. And if he starts, I'm tempted to put him in. Now, the sensible decision would be if you do want any Leicester attack, it's Maddison. But I don't know. I quite like the sound of Iheanacho. I think I'll probably end up having one of those guys, Dean, which sounds crazy because they've been so bad.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that is a big call. I've seen a lot about Iheanacho, and I keep hearing people like wanting to believe in Iheanacho. I don't know like where this is coming from. Like maybe Iheanacho's got like a great PR person working for him, because it seems to be a lot of people like feeling a buzz about him. And for a team that's absolutely struggling I'm surprised at how much love he's getting, but I understand it. Like you've got to look for some hope in fixtures, and at some point Leicester are going to win a game, and like this seems as good as any for them to win. Like they can't have become this terrible overnight and like not be able to win games. I think they've got a good chance here as any of producing a win, and Iheanacho and Maddison, maybe even as a combination, could be quite lethal.
Yeah, exactly. Wolves, by the way, I just put Costa on there because he scored the goal. Sarr's obviously great. Totti is a left wing back who is the cheapest defender in the game. 3.8 million. Well, he just started and kept a clean sheet and I think played 90. He got like 89, 90 minutes. So Totti should be good value for a start. If you are short for funds and you want substitutes that play, and you need a 3.8 million defender, Totti is your guy.
Nice.
I noticed that when watching match today and scrolling through all the teams. So look, we spoke about Liverpool. Bournemouth. Okay. So Liverpool play Forest, so that's the avoid. Sorry, I forgot. I put Forest at the end of the list. Yeah. Bournemouth, West Ham, and then Newcastle, Spurs are the other fixtures. Yeah. So what do you reckon, Dean? Would you punt on any West Ham players? We've spoken about Solanke and Bournemouth, and we like him. And outside of Solanke, I do think Tavernier is playing very, very well. But I wonder, West Ham, could they get something, or is it like just avoid West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, I've already got Zuma, and I'm happy to have him in my team for now. I think that West Ham might be in a good position here. Like they've kept hold of David Moyes to see them through the season, then they can make a decision on what they're going to do. And it seems like that might have just about been good enough to pay off. It's a game against a team that are in good form, though. I don't think I'll be go to searching for options. If I really wanted one, then Bowen might be my guy. Like watching the game, I quite liked like what he gives you as an FPL asset, particularly. He gives you hope, basically.
I remember last season as well. He was so good for FPL, wasn't he?
He was so good last season. Yeah, didn't really live up to that this year so far, but maybe he's going to have a great end to the season. So yeah, I think. If I had to pick a new signing for West Ham, I'd probably go Bowen.
Yeah, a few in the chat sport mentioned Benrahma, fair, the penalty appeal. Yeah. Probably should have put Benrahma instead of Ings on this list, to be fair. Outside of that, though, I think I would probably, if I was going for anyone in that fixture, it'd be Solanke or Tavernier, or even Billing. Like I think it probably would be Bournemouth. Do you know what really puts me off the West Ham fixture? I mentioned it earlier. I've just checked it. They play Ghent on Thursday night. And for me, like it's just too many fixtures in a short space for a squad that's not the biggest or the best. And it is a home fixture. There's no travel time there, but it still puts me off their European involvement. The last fixture of this game week, that again, I'm probably going to swerve outside of Trippier. I think Trippier still goes in. I think Newcastle could keep a clean sheet. And I just think Trippier's attacking threat is so good that there's a chance I miss out on a 12-pointer here. Like so many times this season, we've seen Trippier get 3 bonus, especially if they keep it clean. They need to change how they played against Aston Villa, but Spurs are a very different team, and I don't think they'll cause the problems that Ollie Watkins caused on the counter. Sure, Son could do similar, but he doesn't play that position at the moment, Son. So I think Newcastle win this to have a good chance of winning it to 0, which definitely puts me off Kane and Son.
Oh dear. I mean, I'm not going to take Kane out, obviously, because I can field a full team with him. But I understand. Like from the highlights I watched, it didn't seem like he had much of a sniff in that last game. Tottenham didn't look too good. I'll tell you what, we were both talking about Pedro Porro, and I mean, he had an absolute stinker. A terrible game.
He did.
Davinson Sanchez was booed by his own fans. Christian Romero was getting slaughtered for well, I mean, at one point he did try a ridiculous trick in like his own third, which really almost cost him. This team is in absolute disarray. They're a complete mess on and off the pitch. They've got no identity, no structure. They start off with a game plan. Something goes slightly wrong. They completely lose their heads. They retreat. They forget about what they were supposed to be doing. And it's just wild from there on. Like it's just an extremely strange mindset that team now find themselves in. They don't seem to have a manager that can guide them through safely to the end of the season. And no wonder Tottenham are looking at people like Luis Enrique to try and steady the ship, because, it's a total mess. And Harry Kane must be thinking, like, can I stay any longer?
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's a complete mess. Harry in the chat Harry, question for you. Do you think Dean sounds like, someone said this earlier in the chat, that Dean sounds like FPL Focal? Now, Dean, you won't know who FPL Focal is, but
No.
he's a popular YouTuber and has a very similar sounding voice to you, I think, as well.
Really?
And he's got a really distinctive voice. Yeah, so it's great to hear that one of our own Dean sounds like
I'll have a
FPL
listen.
Focal.
I'll check it out. Yeah, maybe it's
Mate,
my
his voice
brother.
is so good. He often isn't on all his YouTube vids. He's often not in shot because his voice. He knows his voice is that good that he doesn't need it.
Oh wow, never had that compliment. So I don't. Maybe we haven't got the same voice.
Well, Harry doesn't think you have. There we go. A
Cheers,
few
Harry.
in the chat pointed it out out, but yeah,
I saw someone say it. Yeah.
It wasn't one of my finds. It wasn't one of mine. But then I was
No, I
like,
did read it,
kind
yeah.
of see it. All right, let's move on to my draft. So look, this is a first version of a draft. Now, this isn't the same draft you would have seen tons on Twitter. It's a little bit different because you just know I'm going to put something together slightly different. I might go with a template on Twitter in the end. I might go with this draft. It might be none of the two. There's some rogue shouts in here, but I haven't gone Jesus. I've gone for triple Arsenal midfield. I quite like that. I think Odegaard's a bit of a bully against some of the bad teams. Salah is obviously in there, but again, we spoke about, do we want to go triple Arsenal attack or one defender? And then we spoke about, do we want to go double Liverpool defense, Trent and Robbo, and then just Salah? And my answer to those two was, I want to attack both of them. So I want more attackers at Arsenal and more attackers at Liverpool. And therefore, for me, if Darwin plays reasonably well tonight, certainly if he has the minutes tonight, he'll be in my team. Likewise, that could be Jota. Other positions and players outside of those 6 players, and you have to have 6 from Arsenal and Liverpool in your 11, remember. At the moment, I've gone double Palace defence. Johnson's in there with Gay. Does that stand? I'm not so sure. Very funny nuclear ams. Trippier at the moment is in there. For those watching on catch up, Nuclear Atoms has made a very funny comment. No Havertz on the bench, Gianni, just for moral support. Third sub-zoom. Do you know what? If I've got the funds, I almost certainly, I'll make a promise to you now, Nuclear, Havertz will be in my free hit team just for the lols, because I'm kind of treating FPL just for the lols this season. Like, everyone was making free hit drafts on Sunday night or Saturday night to catch price rises and stuff. The first one I did was this morning. I don't care if I miss out on 0.1 or use too many transfers. Like, I'm treating FPL pretty casually now because I've been so stung by the Watkins saga. And I'm bitter. But the front line, what do you reckon, Dean? Like Darwin, Nacho. Okay, Watkins is a template, but Darwin and Nacho, that'll be proper differentials. Could be loads of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading everyone saying that Darwin's on the bench tonight, which I'm not particularly happy about. I'm seeing everyone writing it. I can't get it up on my thing. I haven't got a Liverpool line up on my Twitter side.
Well, where it's coming from. Then. I guess that's a good in the know, but
there's a lot of people saying
maybe it's Jota.
So that's annoying. I will be annoyed if Darwin doesn't play tonight. But yeah, exactly. So Jota would be the other option if Darwin's not going to be figuring.
Our boy, Ali Hangarov, world number 8, former world number 1. He's on Darwin. I really hope Darwin gets something for him tonight. Friend of the show, Ali. Stay tuned on that one. We'll let you know by the end of the show. But yeah, if you guys in the chat saying you'll all be following the same Twitter account, no doubt, that's leaked it. So unchanged from the Arsenal game, which, was Jota. He loves Jota, doesn't he, in the big games? But I thought we'd go Darwin tonight. And then Ian Nacho, the big conversation will be, do you go for a Leicester player? And is that Maddison or Nacho? And I think that'll be split. I think most will want to go towards Maddison, and maybe I do. Watkins, I think, has to be in there for the form he's on. And I still think that Brentford defence, they're not the best. They're quite leaky. I think Watkins has fun against his old team. And then the bench is I don't expect any of them to feature anyway. Dean, I feel like you wouldn't go for Trippier based on your face when I mentioned having Trippier in my team. You would swerve that fixture, would you?
I probably would now. I mean, I've obviously got Trippier, so I'm sticking with him. I don't know. That performance did something to me, and I was like, maybe they're going to be a bit flaky as we get to this stage of the season. Obviously, he's been such a good asset. It's actually quite a gamble to take him out, isn't it? I don't know what % owned he is right now, but I'm guessing it's still pretty high. So, if I would be tempted to not if I had a free hit. But then again, Tottenham were rubbish. So
it's hard to identify a clean sheet fixture. Like I could
it
go
is,
triple
yeah.
Palace defence and go, I'm just backing Everton not to score and go on, Uncle Roy, do it
That's
for the
a
boys.
massive shout. Imagine it, though. Imagine it.
I'm tempted.
It's worth shouts.
Or
It's worth
Villa?
shouts.
Do I go Villa for a clean sheet?
Villa
Does
are
Tony score?
Villa
Did
on
Brentford
such a
score at
good run,
home?
aren't they? Yeah, Villa on such a good run. Like that would be tempting. But again, there's just nothing that convinces you. Like there's no obvious decision here, so it's still going to be a gamble whichever way you go on it.
The good news is, if Darwin doesn't come into my team, and I don't play Jota either, and I go Gakpo, who I like, in the midfield, that gives me a forward slot available to put Havertz in up top.
Yeah.
Which I might do.
Yeah, why not? Havertz and Sterling up top. Go with that.
So yeah, 2.1 million in the bank with this one. So like there is money is not going to be an issue, which is why I think Saka just put Saka in. So yeah, just looking at some of the comments. Play Moreno over Trippier. Yeah, maybe. Guys, I will show you my team on Friday, and it will be a locked team that I show on Friday, because remember, Friday is the deadline. So we will very likely be doing a Friday deadline stream. And look, make sure you set notifications, because there's a chance it could even be a daytime stream.
Probably will be daytime. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
In and around lunchtime or afternoon.
Yeah.
So I've got a cup final on Friday, mate. For my
local
team.
Of course.
I've got the big cup final that I'm injured for.
Yeah. So who's against?
Oh, I don't even know the name of the team. This is really bad.
Oh no. Well, you don't need to worry about it. That's how relaxed you are about your cup final. You haven't even looked up who the opposition are. It's just chill, isn't
really
it?
Bad.
Your team that good?
I think they're above us in the league, whoever it is, because I've heard the rumor. I've heard the fact. I think our cup final is.
Are you hopeful of playing? Do you think you'll be starting the cup final?
So I'm making my first game back from injury tomorrow night. And I've said to the gaffer that I can feature. So I'm hoping to get 20, 30 minutes under my belt. And if I get through that half an hour on Tuesday night, so we never have a Tuesday night game, just do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Isn't ideal prep ahead of a Friday cup final, because I'm usually stiff for about 5 days after playing.
Doesn't sound great, yeah.
But I need to prove to him that I can get the minutes. So I'm gonna play a part tomorrow. And my wife actually said to me on Saturday, because I said I'll play Saturday, and she said, if you play Saturday, we're going to fall out. And she never threatens me like that. She's not the type to turn that hit me with that one liner. So I was like, oh, okay, you got a fair point there. I will not play. I'll go watch. But it was tough watching. So yeah, I'll be back Tuesday, and I hope I play. I might even make the cup final squad. They've said because we can only put 16 in, and our squad's like 20. And obviously, everyone wants to be available for the cup final, I'm guessing. So I sent a text to the manager and was like, I completely understand if I'm not in the squad, because you need players that are fit and can give you sort of 45 minutes plus. And if I can't do that on Tuesday night, then yeah, I'll definitely not be in. So time will tell.
Yeah, Derek wants to know what position you play.
Oh, God. I'm Mr. Utility Man. I guess I'm not good enough to have my own position at the moment. So I've been playing mainly centre mid, but it's my least favourite position on a football pitch. So I played right back the game before I got injured, and that was one of my best performances, I think. I like playing centre back, right back. I'm a defender. I only know how to defend. I have no use for attacking. Like, I don't know what to do when I got the ball at my feet.
You just want to get rid of it, block it and get rid of it.
I just want to tackle people. I just enjoy blocks, tackles, interceptions, clearances, headers. I'm an Italian defender at heart.
I wouldn't have had that down, to be fair. I'd have thought you had a bit of flair about you.
Nah, mate, I'm useless with the ball.
Oh, dear.
I'm useless. As a kid, I was always like a number 9 or a number 10. But since I stopped playing for 20 years, I'm only good at one thing.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair shout. I probably would be by now, too. Yeah, that's a good point.
Gianni's a floater, says FPL River. Defending all the way, Italian genes. Yeah, my dad's proud of me, Mark. I'm playing only at the back these days. Maldini is his all-time favourite player.
I bet, yeah.
Where did you play, Dean, when you were playing back in
I was a forward, yeah. I was
yeah,
I was obviously not very tall, so that was a bit of a problem, but I scored a lot of goals.
Nippy.
Yeah, I was very fast. I was very fast, yeah, and scored a lot of goals. So I used to have other big people around me, and then I would just nip in behind. Bit like it was funny. As my old manager actually is in charge of the Liverpool Academy now. Alex Inglethorpe, his name is.
Jesus.
And we had him on Ranks on a podcast, And then Sam and Jack were like, "Come on, then let's get it out the way. What was Dean like as a player?" And he was like, I had no idea what he was going to say.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, sorry." He was like, "He was good." He said, "If I had to compare him to someone, I'd compare him to Inzaghi." And I was like, "Whoa, wasn't expecting that."
Proper
That's great.
poacher, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Inzaghi
but I
wasn't
was
very
like,
technical. It was like
but I was like, that's fine. I don't mind it too much. I was like, to be fair, I think I just scored a lot of goals, and that's not the worst example.
always on the last man, because Inzaghi was often offside, wasn't he? But always played on the
He
shoulder. So
was,
you were
yeah. He got a
always on the shoulder.
reputation. He got a reputation for that, yeah. And I did that too, to be honest. I just loved nicking goals, scruffy goals, whatever they were. So, yeah, goal hanger.
I love that. Yeah, Mark's first comment straight away was offside a lot then, Dean.
Yeah.
Oscar's late for the pod. Oscar, you can go back and rewatch the whole thing. The last hour's been definitely worth the watch. FPL River says, "Aren't you named after an Italian defender?" No, I'm named after Gianni Rivera, who was the golden boy of Italian football at the time. He was a number 10. He actually won the Ballon d'Or. Very few defenders have won the Ballon d'Or. I think Cannavaro might be the only one. Don't know.
Okay.
I would give out oranges at half time to the players, says Paul. Yeah, that's more my role now. Guys, it's been awesome tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I think we're going to call it a night. We will be back on Friday.
Yep.
It does look like Liverpool are unchanged, by the way, in terms of those looking for team news. Good luck for those of you that got Salah. I'm worried he's going to kill my rank tonight. A big Salah performance tonight for those that don't have him could really, really hurt. But there we go, guys. We'll see you on Friday. But for now, he's been Dean, I've been Gianni, and we've been chasing green arrows.